Good morning. This is the weekend update for Buy Sell Short for Saturday, March 2nd. What a bizarre week we have just had. We had sequester finally kick in. No deal, of course, in Washington. Neither side willing to compromise at all. And as such, the $85 billion in sequester cuts have started to kick in, and the market just yawned. Rather remarkable action this week. We had that big Monday sell-off, 200 plus points, as you can see here on the chart. The reason for that, of course, was Italy debt issues that reared their head, and of course worries about the sequester. But right away after we had that 2% drop in the market, we rebounded all the way back up and broke above this trading range that has been in place over the last month. Then yesterday morning, whoosh, we open up down 100 points. But as I said in the chat room, and something to keep in mind, if you're a trader sitting there watching the action in market, this is something that happens a lot, and I usually ID it in the market, but it's something to look for in the future. The Friday open, whenever you see an open like that, usually mostly comes if we've got a weak close the day before. But, you know, a couple of minutes into the open on Friday, we were down 80, 90 plus points just like that. But the thing you look for to identify if there's going to be a bounce back is typically when you see those kind of bogus sell-offs on the open, you'll see very, very wide spreads on a lot of stocks. And that was very, very evident right after the open on Friday. We saw big spreads on some stocks. To give you an example of something I was talking about, check out BCRX. This is just a 15-minute chart, and this candle right here is the open. The stock had closed at $1.20 on Thursday, and then whoosh, just like that on Friday, right after the open, 113 low. And the spread on this stock right after the open was the ask was 120, the bid was 115, then the ask was 119, the bid was 113, and then, you know, you saw panic ensue. You know, there's a 7-cent spread. Traders that are looking at the market down 50, 70, 80 points sell into the robot buying here. Now, if you're trying to buy this, there's no way in hell you're going to buy a 7-cent spread on a stock like this with the market down. These are the manipulators buying here, and this kind of action was seen across multiple stocks. There was another one, Glue Mobile is another one that had it. Check this candle out here. They got it all the way down to 215, then they spiked it all the way up to 232. This is all within the first few minutes of the open. Wide spreads, wide drops, and not even tradable. And when I see action like this, especially across multiple stocks, and we see the market dip, 9 out of 10 times from past experience over the last many years of trading, the market ends up recovering, and that is exactly what we ended up seeing throughout the day. I mean, they were able to test a 20-day exponential and then rocketed us back higher. I mean, what a reversal we had from the lows. What was that? Almost, you know, they got us down, almost 200-point intraday reversal from that bogus open that we saw. Now, looking at the 15-minute chart, you can see if we ignore this blip here, we're kind of consolidating at the top of the range. So that is kind of bullish going into this upcoming week. Would want to see some strong upside move on Monday. The sequester has passed. It's over. The market does not care. What risks do we have out there right now? You know, if they try and bring up some European crap. But right now, shorts should be worried. The market, you know, traders and pundits and whatnot were expecting the first big dip in the market to get bought. The big dip was 200 points. That was it. 2%. I mean, we didn't even get a test of the 50-day moving average. If we get an upside break here, and if we look at a multi-year chart, you'll see that the all-time... Actually, we got to go a little further out there. The all-time highs are a short step away. We are 50 points. Actually, no. What did we close out on Friday? We are 100 points from an all-time high. And if you go to the website, there's an article I have. You hear a lot of talk about this being a bull trap, when in fact the statistics on new all-time highs, they use the S&P as an example. the 13 times that it's happened since the 1950s or 60s, the average length of the bull market after a new all-time high has been broken is a 28% gain, and the average time frame is a year. So for those thinking this rally is over, it's only starting, especially if we get that all-time high break. Now, it has been deader than dead in the microcap stocks, which is rather remarkable given that we are right at all-time highs in the market. But a nice upside break on the major indices, and you're going to see speculative money flood into this market. If that was the extent of the retrace that we saw this past week, you're going to have a lot of people going, crap, I'm not going to be able to get in on a big dip, and start to move into this market in a big way. And hopefully we will start to see the micro cap stocks pick up a lot more interest. Now, here's the chart of the Russell, the larger cap, small cap stocks, and it's looking like it wants to go on a nice little continuation move. We broke that previous trend line, but we've put in another nice uptrend support here, and all eyes are going to be on that 932 break. And if we're able to break that this week, we could see a very nice move into the speculative section of this market. Now, it was very, very brutal this past week in a lot of the stocks that we're playing, and over the last couple of weeks, as I've been saying in the videos and in the chat room, I've been looking to go high cash. And this past week, I went to 95% cash, washed out a lot of my positions. I got a couple of positions left, but I'm actually very, very comfortable doing that. You know, a lot of those stocks were not moving. They were anchors in our portfolios, distractions. As I've said many times before, I do not mind flushing my account starting from scratch. And if I need to buy a stock again, be it a day later, a few days later, a week later, great. It'll mean that I'm seeing the chart setting up better than me sitting in a stock and holding and hoping that it's going to reverse. Now, one such stock, CRME. This one had a lot of nice prospects for us over the last month, but it's kind of been dead in the water here. On Friday, we jumped right back into this puppy, 42 cents and under, and the reason being, KERX blew up on Friday on a rumor that they were going to be bought out. Likely bullcrap, but that same blog has a similar rumor for CRME with Biogen IDEC. Now, we've been waiting for this stock to put out some news to justify why the CEO picked up 1.75 million shares at 42 cents. Maybe there's some credence to the rumor, but the chart looks bottomed out here. We got RSI breaking up through the 50 level. Nice bounce back, nice close on Friday, a pickup in volume. Stochastics are in the basement, so this one could see a nice little move up to the mid-50s this week, and maybe this will start the move back into the speculative micro-cap stocks that we've been really wanting for over the last couple of weeks. Big winner for us this past week, ONTY, and it looks like it's going to continue to move. Solid breakout. Another example of a dip and rip. What's a dip and rip? We jumped into this one right here. The next day, with the market on Monday, and then since then, it's just gone boom. Next breakout is 225, and that'll take us to that 235 first target gap fill. A break of this, and as you can see, there is no resistance for a long way up. These guys report earnings mid this week. Going to be interesting to see if we get some updates on their cancer drug trials, the phase 2 trials that are upcoming. There's a lot of potential positive data coming here in the next several weeks. So this could be a stock that we are going to play quite a bit of over, the next quarter. But very, very nice move on this one. Support and stops, the 50-day moving average at 208, which locks in a solid win even if it does retrace back to that level. Disappointment stocks, SCON. I just don't get it. Just constant selling. Volume's not that great, but it seems like the breakout and where the interest is going to come in here is going to be on a break of the 50-day at 27 cents. Just very, very bizarre action that all I can attribute it to is just a lack of interest and buying in microcap stocks right now. Another example of that is RNN. Very, very frustrating action on this one as well. But again, the microcap stocks just seem to be dead. WYY, big winner for us. over the last month. It is putting in a much needed retrace. Going to be watching very, very closely around this 50-cent area this upcoming week. Earnings aren't for another couple of weeks. We've got a golden cross possibly by later next week upcoming, but I would expect to see a very nice bounce off this 50-cent level. So we'll be watching very, very closely at that this week. ALVR, we talked about it in the last video, rather disappointing. It's holding the 50-day moving average, but again, it seems to be just waiting on merger news that doesn't seem to be coming, and these guys have earnings this week. Maybe it'll get an update, maybe not. You know our rule for earnings plays. If you do hold, you only hold a half position max into earnings is one of the rules we have. Mad Cats was a very nice mover for us on Thursday. Got all the way up to the 20-day exponential, this green line. And you see why I like using this as a first target. Since it touched that on Thursday, a little bit of weakness on Friday. This is going to be the level to watch for a breakout early this upcoming week. We did get that positive MACD cross on Friday. Stochastics are looking to break up through 50. So let's see if we get that pattern where we get a pop, dip, and then the pop break and move up towards that 50-day moving average up there at 51 cents. PEIX, crazy volatile on Friday. Went from trying to break out at 40 cents to just like that, falling all the way down to 36 cents, then rebounding all the way back up to 39 plus cents before settling in the mid 38s. Very, very volatile. Under the 200-day moving average. It's also on the pop scan this week for a break through 40 cents is the watch on this one. And then that first target would be a move up to the 44, 46 cent area. Now this one moves in tandem with the other ones, chiefly BIOF. Break of 575 on BIOF, and this one could see a quick move up to the 625, 650 area. And if that does happen, PEX will be easily up here in the mid-40s. So you've got to watch both of these stocks for a trade. You know, if you're looking to add a position in PEIX, you got to watch and see what BIOF does. Similar action, SYNM. Now, this one, they're at the Grand Am race this weekend. Maybe we'll get some press release from these guys on Monday. You know, they actually didn't put out any press releases on Friday, so that's a good. Maybe we'll get it Monday morning, and that'll finally break this stock and put it on that move up to the 60-cent area. Now, again, microcap stocks have been dead, but we're about to, looks like, break out to all-time highs in the major indices, so that hopefully will see an avalanche of money downhill into the smaller cap stocks. So that's it for the video. If you've got any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Any questions on positions, what to hold, what to sell, or even charts we're not covering. I don't mind answering chart questions for you. If you've got a play you're interested in looking at, you know, shoot me an email or ask me in the chat room what targets and stops would be on plays you want to play. Just because we're not playing it doesn't mean you don't or can't ask me. I'm a resource here for you guys to use. As for this week, I like going into the new week with high cash, with the market about to break out. PopScan has a lot of plays on it this week. I've got a lot of plays that I'm watching very, very closely, and it's early days on a lot of them. Now, we're going to miss a couple, but I like the action that I saw going through the PopScan plays today. It gives me a good feeling for this upcoming week that I think this upcoming week is going to be very, very nice. And let's leave it at that. So have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.